The Giver is one of the most reactionary books ever written. And though ironically enough, I'm pretty sure the person who wrote it is a liberal, showing the left's total lack of self-awareness. Nevertheless, The Giver is more or less the one of the most right-wing books ever written. So The Giver is set in a the far future. Um, my belief is that it takes place in a world where communism won the Cold War and has created a completely new society. In the quest for perfect equality, the scientific aspects of Marxism have been taken to the logical extreme. The society has evolved the concept known as the sameness, which has eradicated emotional depth from their lives. Children are no longer born to parents. There's a centralized location in which people live as birth mothers, and they give birth to artificially inseminated children. Uh, the kids are randomly placed with various family units, which are randomly selected. Sex does not exist anymore, and everyone takes medication to repress their hormones and their emotions. Essentially, everyone's on antidepressants that basically kill all emotional desire as well as one's sex drive. There is also kind of a supernatural aspect to it, in which all of society's kind of collective memory, and indeed all of society's kind of natural memory, because people do have instincts, intuitions, and stuff that are just innate within them, and all that has more or less been taken away and placed in one man who is the giver or the receiver, and he holds within him all the pain, suffering, happiness, joy, etc. of the civilization. All of it's kind of the collective memory, if you will. He holds within him kind of the spiritual aspect of the people. The spiritual aspect, the collective memory, the culture of the people is contained within him. Emotional complexity no longer exists in the society. Everyone is born, assigned a job when they come of age, live in the community, and die. There is no fear of death. There is no life or death. It's just gray. In actuality, people can no longer even see shades of shades of color anymore because that has also been offloaded into the giver. The reason that the memories are stored is because if the giver is to die, then the memories would go back. And this is kind of where the supernatural aspect comes in. If they were to lose all of that understanding and memory of the past, it would go back into the people. He is more or less kind of a human sacrifice that contains within him the sins of everyone else. The sins and the virtues of society, which more or less kind of makes him like a Christ metaphor. So let's see here. So, yes, this before the sameness. There are times where one must draw upon the wisdom gained through history to aid in the community's decision making. And that's part of the reason why the giver is allowed to continue to exist in society, so that they can ask him questions about what to do in the future. So, there is also no weather anymore, there's no climate, there's no terrain, everything is just kind of a flat expanse. So yeah, so The Giver is very popular in English-speaking world and is widely read in schools. Although people don't seem to pick up any aspect of it, that The Giver more or less portrays a world in which communism, socialism, leftism, and more particularly social justice warriors have won and created their perfect society. And it portrays it for the horror that it is, because we have widespread euthanasia, we have an abandonment of all forms of sex, we have the euthanizing of people who are too old and weak to maintain themselves. Basically, all the aspects of modern leftism have been taken to their logical exclusion, and we have a society where people aren't even human anymore. So the book opens with Jonas, who's apprehensive about the upcoming ceremony of 12, where he will be assigned his career or assignment in the community. In his society, there is no privacy. and all houses have cameras in them to observe people at all times for any infraction of the rules. The rules, though, are uh, readily accepted by everyone, as this is a totalitarian society, and the concept of disobedience has long since disappeared. So there is no creativity anymore. So yeah, let's see here. Sorry about that. So he goes to the selection ceremony, and the various people in his life are given. However, before we get to the ceremony, Jonas has begun to go through puberty, and he has sexual wet dreams about his red-headed waifu named Fiona. Um, well, some people might think that having sexual dreams about a gorgeous redhead is pretty normal for a boy's age. In this society, it's bad. So he starts taking the antidepressants that cause a complete loss of sexual desires. So let's see here. The ceremony happens, and Jonas is selected as being the giver. Sorry, the receiver, where he will receive the memories of the giver, and the memories will be given to him, and he will be the next person to contain them for society. As Jonas begins to receive memories from the giver who reveals to him that his daughter had been the first receiver, and she had basically she couldn't take the pain caused by the past. And the realization of how horrible their society was, and she had applied to be euthanized, or as I like to call it, post-birth aborted. The government, who euthanizes anyone who experiences any sort of pain, had euthanized her, and some of the memories that she had obtained had gone back into the community, and begun kind of the slow unraveling of society as people have gotten some of it back. So the giver transfers memories into his back by transfers his memories into Jonas by placing his hands onto his back. He gives him memories of pleasure, of pain. Jonas begins to see color. He receives visions of what the sun looked like because they don't see the sun anymore, of mountains, of cold, of excitement, of terror, of hunger and love. And he realizes how bland and empty life is in the community and in the postmodern hell in which they live. The memories make Jonas's life richer and more meaningful, and he wishes that he could give the richness and meaning to the people he loves. Because as he said, as I said, the parents that he was assigned were assigned that as their job. Their job is to raise children. They have no emotional connection with him. No one has any emotional connection with everyone. Everyone is, ironically, despite it being a completely totalitarian communist society, no one has the capacity to have any sort of relationship with anyone else. And if you notice, that's an aspect of postmodernity. The more egalitarian society gets, the harder people find it to really relate and interact with one another. As kind of things break down, uh, ironically enough, extreme equality very often resembles an atomized society. So Jonas slowly realizes, though, that the people in his community have lost the ability to love him or to feel deep passion about anything. Since they have never experienced anything resembling suffering, they cannot understand the real joy in life, and the life of individual people has no value to them. Let's see here. No one has ever had to make a choice on their own. Jonas over time grows more and more frustrated with members of his community and with the giver. The giver tells him that he has felt the same way over many years, and that he has come to view Jonas as the second person he ever has loved in his life, after his granddaughter. Um, let's see here. Where family members were allowed to stay in contact after the children were grown. So after the children are grown, they're never allowed to see their family ever again. So Jonas begins helping his family take in a new child, Gabriel, who has trouble sleeping through the night at the nurturing center. Jonas helps the child to sleep by transmitting some memories to him every night, and begins to develop a relationship with Gabriel that mirrors family relationships from the time before. When Gabriel is revealed to be sick, he is in danger of being released. The giver reveals to Jonas that release is the same as death and that they're being euthanized. Thus, anyone who is crippled, anyone who is incapable of adapting to the sameness, anyone who demonstrates talents far and above what is acceptable, anyone who gets old, anyone who suffers depression or pain is euthanized, which is called release, where they stick a needle in your arm and kill you. No one tries to talk you out of it. People blissfully give it. Gabriel is a sickly child, so they are going to perform a post-birth abortion on him. Jonas, like a normal person, acts with rage and horror at the situation. And this inspires the giver to help Jonas devise a plan to change the things in the community forever. The giver tells Jonas about how his. Oh, sorry, it's not the giver's granddaughter, it's his daughter. Um, who who had gotten released after only receiving a small portion of the memories that he holds, and the memories had come back to the community. Thus, they determined that if Jonas is to leave the community or die before passing his memories on, all the memories will come back to the totalitarian society, and it will in effect end as people will be able to feel emotions again and start acting like humans once more. Once he has escaped the community and gone to elsewhere, the larger supply of memories will disperse. The giver will help the community come to terms with the new feelings and thoughts, allowing the course of history to move forward once again. Unfortunately, though, Jonas is forced to leave earlier plan when he is told that Gabriel will be released the next day. Desperate to save Gabriel, Jonas steals a bicycle and a supply of food and sets out for elsewhere. Gradually, he enters a landscape full of color, animals, and changing weather, but also hunger, danger, and exhaustion. Avoiding the search plains, Jonas and Gabriel travel for a long time until heavy snowfall makes bike travel impossible. Half frozen but comforting Gabriel with memories of sunshine and friendship, Jonas mounts a high hill. There he finds a sled, the sled from his first transmitted memory, waiting for him at the top. Jonas and Gabriel experience a glorious downhill ride on the sled. Ahead of them, they see or think they see the twinkling lights of a friendly village at Christmas, and they hear music. Jonas is sure someone is waiting for them there. Whether or not this represents Jonas dying and going into the afterlife, some sort of delusion, or whether or not he actually escaped, is left up to the individual to really decide. It's exceedingly difficult to tell in this book. I will have to say, though, that as I said, this is probably one of the most reactionary books ever written, as it largely portrays the whatchamacallit, the feelings of social justice warriors and what the left does to society, transforming it into a hellless, a hell-like, purposeless existence, in which any of the things that drive us forward as humans are taken away. Life is full of pain. It's also full of accomplishment. Um, Ultimately, the people in the giver cannot come to terms with the true nature of life and reality because everything is denied to them. It's an interesting book and one that's well worth reading. It's not really, I don't think, as deep as as other books. Some reviewers commented that the story lacks originality, complexity, and won't stand up to serious literary criticism. I think it is good, particularly for young adults. If you have kids who are still in grade school or even like grade 9 or 10, I would really recommend you have them read this, as it's a very good introduction for a young person to traditionalism, to the necessity of knowing the past, and into kind of the right wing as opposed to the left wing worldview of how we kind of view the world and the relationship of the past, present, and future. I don't really have too much else to say other than to kind of give a summary and a couple thoughts, as the book is quite short and there's not that much of a story to it. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the reaction review. This is Argent Templar signing out.